This is a story you'll never forget. It's about Sandra, a young girl whose life changed the day she lost her father. He was her world, her comfort, and her hero. When he died, everything around her fell apart. But what started as pain soon became a story of strength, healing, and hope.
Sandra was only 12 years old when she lost her father. A tragic car accident claimed his life, and with it, the light in Sandra's world. Her father had been everything to her. He was a doctor, not just in profession, but in heart. He had a kind soul, always tending to the needs of his patients with so much love that when the news of his passing spread across the town, there wasn't a dry eye left. He was their healer, their friend, and now he was gone. Sandra couldn't even imagine life without her father. Every corner of their house reminded her of him. The small study where he had always sat late into the night reading medical journals. The chair he used to sit in at the dining table. The way he laughed so freely. He was a man full of life, and Sandra, his little girl, had clung to him like a shadow. When her father passed, Sandra felt like she lost not only a parent, but a piece of her soul. The days that followed blurred into each other, and she spent months in silence, trying to come to terms with the emptiness that consumed her. Her mother, Amara, was no better. She had loved her husband deeply. He was more than a man to her. He was her companion, her confidant, the person she trusted with everything. But the sudden loss of him left her with a gaping hole in her heart. Amara tried to fill that hole by keeping busy, working hard every day just to stay afloat. But deep inside, she was a woman broken by grief, lost in a world without her partner. 6 years passed. Sandra had grown from the small girl who clung to her father's side into a young woman with bright eyes and dreams of her own. Yet, the shadow of her father's death still lingered over her. Her mother, however, was slowly recovering. The weight of loss had lessened with time, but loneliness had settled in her heart. One evening, after a long day at work, Amara sat down with her friend Mercy. They spoke about the future, about life after loss. Mercy, always a more outgoing one, suggested Amara think about remarrying. She said, "You're still young, you deserve to be loved again." But Amara hesitated. How could she possibly trust someone again after losing the man she loved so deeply? She was unsure, but her loneliness spoke louder than her doubts. Eventually, Amara agreed to let Mercy introduce her to some men. But each man that Mercy introduced seemed wrong. They didn't hold a candle to the memory of her late husband. She didn't want to settle for just any man.
And then she met Pa Jide. Pa Jide was a man in his 50s with a round belly and a wide grin. His friends called him Pa because of his love for palm wine and bushmeat, which he always claimed made him strong like an ox. He had an air of wisdom, a deep, calming voice, and a godly presence that made everyone in town respect him. He was a teacher at a prestigious school, a mathematics teacher, and people spoke highly of him. To many, Pa Jide seemed like the perfect man. Amara was taken by his charm. He complimented her endlessly, telling her how beautiful she was, how kind-hearted, and how she was like a flower that bloomed after the rain. She couldn't help but feel flattered. He was everything she thought she needed, a man with a good reputation, someone who would be reliable and kind. Sandra, too, liked Pa Jide. He seemed to care for her mother and treated her like a daughter. He'd often bring gifts, and his jokes always made Sandra smile. He was warm, genuine, and seemed to be everything they could hope for in a man. One evening, Pa Jide came to meet Sandra and Amara at their home. He said, "Would you allow me to be a part of your lives?" His voice was deep and sincere. He had a way of making you feel like everything would be okay. Amara, overwhelmed by loneliness and longing for companionship, agreed to marry Pa Jide.
Amara and Pa Jide married soon after. They moved to a new town in Lagos. Sandra didn't question it. She was simply glad to see her mother smile again. Pa Jide made her mother laugh, and for the first time in years, there was light in their home. Sandra tried to adjust to this new life. She went to the same school where Pa Jide taught, and for the first few months, everything seemed fine. Pa Jide, who was a strict teacher, now had a softer side when he was at home. He would help Sandra with her math lessons in the evenings. At first, it felt harmless. He said it was to help prepare her for the exams, to make sure she was doing well in school. But as the days passed, Sandra began to notice something wasn't quite right. Every evening after the lesson, Pa Jide would keep her in the study longer than necessary. His hand would linger too long on her shoulder, or sometimes his fingers would brush against her arm in a way that made her feel uncomfortable. Sandra dismissed it at first. Maybe she was overthinking things. But each time it happened, she felt a sense of unease that she couldn't explain. Things took a darker turn one night when Pa Jide locked the door to the study. Sandra had finished her lessons, but Pa Jide insisted that she stay longer. This time, his hands were not just on her shoulder, they were around her waist, pulling her toward him. He whispered that she needed to learn to be a good student, but the way he said it sent a chill down her spine.
That night, Sandra froze. She didn't know what to do. Fear gripped her heart, and she felt paralyzed. Pa Jide had warned her many times before, under the guise of discipline, that if she ever told her mother about their special lessons, he would kill them both. The terror in Sandra's heart held her captive, and she said nothing. The next day, she tried to act normal, but inside, the storm was brewing. Every night after that, the harassment continued. It became routine. Sandra began to dread the evenings, dreading the time when she would have to go to the study with Pa Jide. She would lay awake at night, trembling, waiting for the sound of his footsteps approaching her room. One evening, after a particularly exhausting day at work, Amara returned home earlier than usual. She was drained, emotionally and physically, from the pressures at her job. She wanted nothing more than to rest. But as she entered the house, she heard something that sent a wave of panic through her body. From down the hall, she could hear soft, muffled sounds. A voice. It was Sandra's voice. She was crying. "Stop! Not today, please! Don't hurt me!" Sandra's voice was weak, trembling with fear. Amara's heart dropped. Something was terribly wrong. She didn't want to believe it, but the sounds were unmistakable. Her hands shaking, she crept slowly toward the door of Sandra's room. She didn't want to make a sound. She didn't want Pa Jide to hear her. Amara's heartbeat thudded in her chest as she pressed her ear against the door. What she heard next made her blood run cold. Through the door, she could hear Pa Jide's voice, low and cruel, whispering, "You are mine now. You will never tell your mother. Never." Amara's stomach twisted. Without thinking, she pushed the door open slowly, careful not to make a sound. It wasn't until Sandra saw her mother that she found the strength to cry out. "Mom, please! He's been doing this to me every night. He told me he would kill us both if I ever told you." Sandra sobbed, her body trembling uncontrollably. After the trial, Pa Jide was sentenced to 3 years in prison. For Sandra and her mother, it felt like a failure of justice. They had hoped for a harsher punishment, something that would make him pay for the pain he had caused. But even with the sentence, they knew they had to move forward. The pain of the past couldn't be erased, but Sandra and Amara vowed to rebuild their lives one step at a time. The community, though shocked by what had happened, rallied around her and her mother. The women of the town took her under their wings. They offered advice, words of encouragement, and shared their own stories of strength. Sandra found comfort in their wisdom, learning from their resilience. The men too showed their support, offering help when needed and standing with them through the difficult days. Her friends became like sisters to her, providing love and friendship that helped her heal. They supported her every step of the way, making her feel less alone. Auntie Choma, a wise woman from the neighborhood, she often spoke to the young girls in the streets. She would gather them around, smiling warmly as she shared her lessons with them. She would say, "Speak up if someone touches you inappropriately. You can tell your teacher, your aunt, uncle, or any trusted adult. Never stay silent." Her words stuck with Sandra, and she promised herself that she would pass on the same message. Sandra finished her secondary school education with great determination. Despite everything she had gone through, she worked hard and soon she applied to the university. She decided to study law. For her, it was more than just a career choice. It was a way to help others, to fight for justice, and to make sure that children like her would have a voice.
During her time at the university, Sandra became passionate about children's rights. She knew she wanted to make a difference, so she decided to become a child rights activist. She worked tirelessly to raise awareness, educate communities, and fight for justice for abused children. Sandra's experience had given her strength, and now she used that strength to help others. With her heart full of hope and her spirit unbroken, Sandra became a beacon of hope for those who had suffered in silence, just as she once had. She never forgot the women who helped her heal, the community that supported her, and the lessons she had learned. And every day, she fought to make sure that no child would ever have to suffer in silence again. As Sandra's work as a child rights activist grew, her efforts began to reach farther than she ever imagined. She traveled across the country, speaking out for abused children, helping to raise awareness, and educating communities about their rights. Her voice became a symbol of strength, courage, and hope for many, especially for those who had no one to speak for them. One day, Sandra received an unexpected letter. It was from the president of the country. The letter stated that her tireless work in advocating for children's rights had not gone unnoticed. Her commitment to justice and the positive change she had sparked in communities all over the country had earned her the president's recognition.
In a grand ceremony, the president awarded Sandra with a prestigious national honor. She stood on stage, proud yet humbled, as the president praised her courage and unwavering dedication to making the world a better place for children. "Sandra, you are an inspiration to us all," the president said. "Your strength and your voice have touched countless lives. Today, we celebrate you for your incredible work and the hope you bring to those who need it most." It was a moment Sandra would never forget, but she knew she couldn't have achieved all of this alone. She thought of the long nights she spent crying, the pain she endured, and the community that had stood by her when she had nowhere else to turn. Her mother, her friends, and the women and men from her community were the ones who helped her heal and gave her the strength to continue. No matter how far Sandra's work took her, she never forgot where she came from. Every year, she would return to her community, the place that had supported her when she was at her lowest. With each visit, she brought gifts for the women and men who had stood by her, helped her, and lifted her up when the walls seemed too heavy to bear. She would walk through the familiar streets, the ones where she had once been a scared, silent girl. The same women who had offered her advice and wisdom now embraced her with open arms. Sandra would thank them over and over, telling them that their kindness had saved her life. "Thank you for not letting me fall," she would say, her voice thick with emotion. "Thank you for standing by me when I didn't have the strength to stand for myself." The men in the community who had shown their support during the darkest days also greeted her warmly. They had protected her when she needed it the most, and Sandra never took that for granted. "Your strength gave me strength," she would tell them. "I wouldn't be where I am today without all of you." Sandra made sure to never forget the community that helped her find her way. She never let go of the lessons they taught her, and every time she stood up for justice, she carried their love and support with her. Sandra's journey from the broken girl who was silenced by fear to the powerful woman standing for children's rights became a story of triumph. Through all the pain, she had found a new purpose in life, and she used that purpose to give others the hope she once lost. Her recognition by the president was a reflection of the impact she had made, not just on a national level, but in the hearts of the people who knew her story. And as Sandra continued her work, she never forgot the village that raised her and the people who loved her. The legacy of strength, healing, and justice that Sandra built was not just hers alone. It was a community effort, one that would inspire generations to come. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe and turn on your notification bell for more videos.